What's Eating Katie is a musical about a 13-year-old girl struggling with an eating disorder. It's performed by teens for teens, and it's an effective way to raise awareness and even prevent eating disorders. First, teen audiences are more receptive to seeing their peers on stage than to hearing adults warning them about the dangers of eating disorders. The eating disorder is depicted as a separate character named Ed. He is a seductive abuser, so the audience feels empathy for Katie and loathing for Ed, effectively deglamorizing eating disorders. Advertising and media spoofs are sprinkled throughout the show. Using humor to empower teens is a much more potent tool than scare tactics. The true hidden strength of this experience is in the impact on the actors themselves and how they convey that impact to the audience in the talkback session after the show. Through their immersion in the script and hearing from people in recovery, each actor not only has their beliefs challenged, but they learn healthy coping tools. Listen to these teens talking about the impact of just 7 days of rehearsals at a summer camp devoted to producing What's Eating Katie.
The first thing that I learned when going into this is that you can't tell someone has an eating disorder. I actually usually thought that it's something that you could tell in a person. And that when I heard that, I was like, well, this is going to be a fun ride.
I thought eating disorders were just people who did it to themselves, really, but when I came here, I realized it's actually like a problem, like they can't help it. And it's not them doing that, it's their eating disorder.
Every single person that said, I wasn't myself, Ed was me, my eating disorder was me. And like it completely took over, I wasn't myself, I completely withdrawn from the world, and it was just like, wow, like this is more serious than people usually think it is.
It made me want to have people be more aware, and that it's not just for rich white teenage girls, that anyone could have it under the right set of circumstances.
Before I came to this camp, I was eating about one meal a day. I was counting almost what I was eating, making sure I was being good. And the minute I got to this camp, I started to realize, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself?
It made me appreciate my mom because I wanted to get a scale, I wanted to see. My mom wouldn't let me. She was like, no, we're not getting a scale, you'll obsess over the numbers. And I was on the verge of having an eating disorder, the most common one, the binging, overeating, eating when you're bored.
Because I know that I struggled with eating because I'm a ballerina and it just seems like that's something that happens. I became more conscious of my eating because when I started with Eating Katie last year, I was at the brink of an eating disorder and I turned myself around because of this camp, which was awesome.
I can see how certain jobs, acting, can drive someone into eating disorder. So I learned a lot about the media, and I learned a lot about how people can fall into the traps. I've learned where to find the pitfalls.
I've noticed I'm eating more, but it's interesting seeing how other people talk about it. Like, I ordered whipped cream on my coffee, and the person that was buying for me was like, do you really want whipped cream on that? And I was like, yes, I do.
I started listening to my hunger. I didn't really, that never crossed my mind before.
And it's just helped me to be aware of listening to my stomach as opposed to my mind or my mom telling me to finish my food, just letting me finish when I'm full.
Should I get that candy bar? Do I need that? Take a second and think about why I might want to put something into my body.
I don't eat as much because I'm satisfied very quickly. Yesterday was my dad's birthday and we went out to eat and I didn't finish my plate and the lady was like, you're done? Well, I would have just eaten the whole thing since it's just there. And I was like, nope, I'm good.
If I I'm ever in that problem, or if I ever have a family member who starts to go into that problem, I know what to do basically. Just talk to somebody, tell them like a professional, and try to help them as best I can.
All most people want or need is someone to know that someone cares enough to listen to what they have to say.
And I've just learned to notice when a friend might be struggling, not to pounce on them, but how to help them gradually and maybe get them to talk to their mom or a therapist or a teacher.
The last part of What's Eating Katie, when it's just the we love her at the end and it's just completely silent. Yesterday I started crying and it was just, because it was just so emotional for me.
Ed is the eating disorder that Katie experiences. He's the personification of all the negative impacts that been attacking Katie. He's her friends' images. He's her family's dieting habits. He's everything.
There's one line that Katie says, and she says, in the therapist scene, like, not being weak like people who need food. And that just says, like, so much, like, what people think about people who are not like her, what she thinks about herself, and it's, like, so many thoughts wrapped up into a couple of words.
It's way better than any school play I've ever put on.
It's breathing exercises that helped us to really connect, to plant our feet on the floor, to stay with it, and just say, you are good enough. You're a human. You're not supposed to be perfect, but you are perfect at the same time.
Knowing that beauty has no weight limit, there's so many different views of beauty that it's fine to be my size and be beautiful.